Hello, and welcome to Tim Connolly Drums. I just decided to do an impromptu live stream. So hopefully some people can see this and join me. It's just an impromptu. I just finished teaching drums. You'd think I'd get enough of drums and music. I just taught, majority of the day today. I just finished teaching a little while ago, went in my hot tub for a break, and now here I am. Got my water, and I thought I would just say hello to my friends out there on YouTube. So I have an announcement. So I'm going to, what I usually do in these live streams for fun is, of course, I answer your questions, and I enjoy engaging with my viewers. So if you have something you want to talk to me about, or you have any questions about any recent videos that I've done, feel free. I like to put your questions up so that people understand what I'm talking about, because sometimes people don't really understand exactly what's going on when they come in, midstream. But if they see the question, they can pick up the conversation pretty quickly. So I got an announcement, and I'm hoping to do some conversation with my viewers here in this impromptu thing. Now, one thing about impromptu, there's no guarantee anybody's going to show up because there's no notice. Oftentimes, you just throw it up there and you just sort of hope. Sometimes I'll give you guys 2 or 3 days notice that I'm doing something. Other times, like tonight, no notice. And I always get a comment, hey, I missed your live stream, but I didn't see a notice about it. Well, in this case, it's true. No notice, just finished teaching. My daughter is occupying the living room, so I decided that I would come back out into my teaching area in the garage and just get on here. So I'm happy to see I got a couple people already, but I'm gonna wait just a little bit before I do my announcement because, well, it'd be nice if there was a few people in here to actually hear the announcement. I appreciate the 3 that are here right now. I like I said, these live streams, you don't know what's going to happen. It's live. You don't know what's going to happen, and you just got to hope that people come in and they want to watch and listen to what you have to say. And like I said, it's not just a watching thing. I encourage you guys to engage, say hello, let me know where you're from. Ask a question, make a comment, whatever you want to do. I'm more than happy to engage with the viewer. That's one of the reasons why I'm here. I'm going to wait a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to get this announcement going if I don't have any questions or comments coming up, because in showbiz, the worst thing is, did you hear them? Crickets. You don't want that dry silence. That's the worst thing in showbiz. That's when the crickets pick up. So try to avoid crickets. Grab yourself a beverage and join me. Hey, I got somebody. I gotta put my glasses on. Luckily, I remembered them, but Radio Chaos. I think that's meant to be chaos. Hey, Radio Chaos. Thanks very much for joining me today. I appreciate it. Man, like I said, just threw this up here. I gave myself 15 minutes to get set up. I finished teaching at 6:30. I ate. I went in the hot tub. And then I came out in the living room. My daughter's got her, she's occupying hey, I have that baby drum. I have that poster, the baby drummer. My daughter was occupying the living room, and I didn't really want to watch what she was watching, just saying. So then I got the idea, live stream. So here we are. Thanks very much for tuning in, Radio Chaos, and whoever else is joining me here. Don't be shy. Please say hello. I appreciate all of you joining me. Trust me, I really do. I'm going to get into my announcement now. I only have 6 people in here, 7 people in here now. Not a lot, but that's okay. I'm going to give you my announcement. So basically, I put out a video. Oh, before we get started, love the channel. Okay. Love the channel. Your stories mirror my experience as a pro drummer. Yeah, man. I mean, you and I were in this together as pro drummers. You know the hardship, the glory, the downside, the upside. I don't know if you've toured or not, but the difficulties living on a bus or living in a van or whatever. You know it all, man. So I appreciate you joining me here today. Much appreciated. So anyways, get back to my announcement here. A couple of videos ago, I talked about, being a band leader versus being a member of a band versus being a sideman or a sub. And I was trying to figure out which one of those I'm going to do, because my hand, while my hand is still in its healing process. For those of you that know about, the hand surgeries that I've been through and the hell that I've been through with this hand, I had to wait before I could actually make any commitments to playing. Well, the doctor's given me the 2 little thumbs up. And I'm ready to go, and I feel pretty decent. I've been playing, and the hand's starting to move. I'm starting to get the old, I'm going this way here. I'm able to do my finger exercises that Joe Morello showed me to get the hands and the fingers going. And I'll show you guys this exercise and another exercise a little bit later for the drummers that join me. Now, so what I've decided is I am putting my own band together. Now, it didn't take me long to hire the musicians. I still need a keyboard player, but I basically hired a singer, a bass player, a guitar player, and I'm on the hunt for a keyboard player. Now, in the past, these 3 people I played with quite a bit in the past. Amanda, Tim, and Andrew. Singer, Amanda, bass player, Tim, also known as Timor, and guitar player, Andrew. They're all amazing. They're all really, really great at what they do. They're super talented people. I'm looking forward to getting this band off the ground. And I need keys because I've decided not to use backing tracks. In the past, I've been involved with backing tracks a lot, performing live. So for those of you that don't know, the backing tracks are, I'm playing with a click in one ear of the tempo of the track, and the track and the band is in the other ear. So I've got this mix of click and band. I control it. I run the click. I run the back, the whole thing, the back end. I run it all. So when I get the band, to play, I'm counting it in based on the click. So the click gives me 2 bars. It goes 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That second bar is me saying it out loud to the band. So I'm getting 1, 2, and then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get started. Now, depending on what happens in the song, could be drums, could be vocals, whatever, but I count them all in with those backing tracks because you have to be perfectly in line with the backing tracks. Perfectly in line. Everyone's tempo and timing in the band has to be absolutely spot on when you've used tracks. Okay, Radio Chaos, you've used tracks also. Yeah, I mean, it's a common thing in the business to use tracks. It's very common. Tons and tons of bands use them. Now, having used them a lot, there's diciness with tracks because sometimes they fail. Sometimes somebody makes a mistake. Singer comes in the wrong spot. Guitar player doesn't start when they're supposed to start, whatever. And so you've got elements of danger. Now, anytime I've ever been playing with a live track and I got that click going, sitting in the pocket, and then something goes wrong, well, you can turn the track off. It kind of sucks, but you can turn the track off. Now, when you're playing in a live band, if something goes wrong, it's much easier to repair because you just do that eye connect thing with everybody in the band, and maybe you just finish out that you know, a bar or two, and then reconnect on bar 3 or bar 4 or whatever. You might even just finish a phrase, finish out a 4-bar phrase, and then you really start. That's when the playing really starts. Also, live, the music breathes a little more as opposed to playing with a click. The music breathes a little bit more, and you're not a slave to that click. Now, that being said, though, there's always the danger of speeding up and slowing down. So I usually will give myself a tempo before the count in using a click, but then I turn the click off, or sometimes I'll still play with the click, but the band is the band's listening to me regardless. They're not all playing with a click. The band is listening to me regardless. So I've decided to opt out of using the tracks. Now, Radio Chaos mentioned that he's used tracks. I'm not sure if any of you other guys that are on here now. I got 13 people. Yes, and I got some comments I'm going to get to in a second. If you've used tracks. Now, the tracks that I had were real good quality. I can remember this old man coming up to me one time at a gig on the break and saying, you know, I can hear a piano or a keyboard playing, but I can't see anybody on stage playing piano or keys. What is going on? Like, he knew nothing about backing tracks. He's not a musician. So he hears, you know, I can remember we were playing September, and that's got a lot of piano and keyboards in it in September by Earth, Wind and Fire. And there's horns. There's horns in it too. No, we don't have any horns on stage. We don't have any keys on stage. It's just the 4 of us. So it's basically bass, drums, guitar, and a singer. She's not playing any instruments. She's just singing. So what the heck is going on? Smoke and mirrors. Where is those horns? And where is that piano coming from? It's the track. Anyways, I've decided this time around, I'm going to hire a keyboard player. Now, I didn't have ready access to a keyboard player the way I did with the other 3 members, because I just contacted them. They were all excited to get right back into the band with me, because we split up a few years ago, and now we're trying to put it together. Now, this is going to be a funk band. It's time to get funky and make people dance. That's what we are going to do. All right, I'm just going to get to a few comments here. Let's see. Andrew, hey, Tim, I finally caught one of these. I usually miss these live streams. I enjoy your channel and usually comment on all your videos. Good stuff. Yes, Andrew, I'm very familiar with your comments, and I'm really happy you finally made it. Way to go. Awesome. That's so awesome. I'm thrilled that you're here, and I love your comments. I try and read and respond to as many of the comments, even the negative comments, because every channel gets them. For every, 10, 15, 20 positive comments, maybe even more, there's always that one guy, you kids, get off my lawn. Your drum set is on my lawn. And those guys, you got to deal with those too. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, because it's yin and yang, man. You got good and you got bad. So thank you very much for tuning in, Andrew. Ed Connell, Tim, really enjoy your stories. I can relate to most as a band leader and sideman for 30 years here in NS. So I'm assuming that's Nova Scotia. I'm old school, not a fan of backing tracks. Yeah, man, I get it. I've done a lot of the backing track thing in the past, and I'm kind of grown tired of it. When a backing track works properly the way it's designed to, it can add to the band. Now, I remember subbing in one time for a disco band. I did not like this. I subbed in, there was no bass player. The bass was all a track. So they had horns, keyboards, backup vocals, and bass. On stage was myself, a guitar player, and a singer. Just a 3-piece, but it's just not the same without a live bass player. Obviously I held it down playing with the click and everything, but it was not enjoyable. I just didn't have that, that relationship on stage you have with a bass player, for you drummers out there, or for if there's any bass players out there, the relationship you have with the drummer. You guys are making eye contact, you're watching the movement of the hands. And when you see a bass player doing his thing, in some ways it helps you with the time. He watches what I'm doing, I'm watching what he's doing, and there's a connection that takes place. So imagine playing live. I've only done it once. I subbed only with that band one time, and they didn't have a bass player. Very, very strange. And not everybody's a fan of backing tracks. I totally get it. Let's see here. Kevin, hi, Tim. Using backing tracks to practice rather than looping my own instruments. For practice, absolutely. 100%. I use backing tracks a ton to practice. As a matter of fact, let's say I'm learning a tune, I'll use the drumless track more so than the original track to play along with. And I get my students to do the same thing. So if we're learning, Enter Sandman, I do the drumless track. And of course, you got to learn your parts, but I like to use the drumless track to play through the song. Absolutely. Radio Chaos, again, good keyboards player can be hard to find sometimes. That is true. Now, I put ads out. I've got currently probably 5 or 6 running. I've had about 10 replies. I've interviewed about 9 of them via Zoom or FaceTime. It's going to take time. I'm not going to comment on any of those keyboard players that I've interviewed so far because they could be watching now. I don't know. I doubt it, but So I'm interviewing them because, again, if you've ever played in a band, you got to get along. So if I'm not going to waste my time bringing 10 or 11 keyboard players out to a rehearsal to find out I didn't like any of them, or the guitar player didn't like him, or the singer didn't like him, or whatever. You've got to have that, that you've got to join together. So I'm interviewing keyboard players via Zoom or FaceTime just to talk to them. I'm not even listening to them play at all. I just want to get to know them a little bit, and see, are we going to connect? Are they the person? Forget about the musician. Are they the person that I want to work with? Because once you get into a working situation, anything can happen. You could be playing somewhere and somebody comes up to you and says, man, I love you guys, and I want to put you in a casino, which actually happened to me. Playing live at a show, and it turns out we didn't realize it, but there was Atlantic City casino people that do the bookings that specifically came to see bands that play at this club, because it's a high-end club and only the top-notch bands were playing at this club. And this guy came in and he came up to me afterwards because he knew I was the band leader and said, hey, we want you in Atlantic City. That's like storybook stuff, but it can happen. Very rare, very rare. It only happened to me twice, but it can happen. Radio Chaos again. Bet you won't play Brick House. You are 100%. You are 100% correct. You've been watching the channel. Boom. I'm not playing that. I'm not playing it. No, we're not playing Brick House. We are playing a ton of funk tunes. That's not one of them. I played that song so many times, as you guys have obviously seen my video of songs I refuse to play. Brick House is one of them. So I won't be playing that. Eternity, Human, TCD, keep rocking on. Yes, my man. Yes. Thank you very much for joining us here today. And like I said, I'm putting this band together and I'm excited. It's a funk band. And I'll tell you why. Quite honestly, when you're in a corporate wedding, private function, bar mitzvah, any kind of a party, anything where women are going to be there, you have to play dance music. You have to play stuff they're going to dance to in that environment. If you show up and you're strictly playing metal or you're strictly playing rock in that environment, it's just not going to work. People need to know what they're up against when they're paying, especially in an event, if they have to pay, that they want to know what they're up against in terms of what is the music that they're going to be listening to all night. Now, if you know, let's say you're an Iron Maiden tribute and you get a gig at a wedding because the bride and groom are huge Iron Maiden fans. Well, That's great. But most times at weddings, people want to hear a variety of music. Now, I believe that you should, play to the singer. Because when you've got a singer that doesn't sound good singing certain things, you're downgrading the band. So in this case, Amanda, she kills that 70s disco funk. She kills Aretha Franklin. She kills any of that 90s dance, 80s funk, anything like that. She kills that stuff. So I decided this band is going to showcase the singer. Oh no, oh no. But truth be told, you got a singer that's really good, you want to showcase. Amanda is an awesome entertainer, great singer, fantastic movement on stage. She is just fantastic. And so we're going to cater to what she plays. Also, when you get women on the dance floor, men will go to the dance floor. Or if they don't go to the dance floor, they're very interested in the dance floor because of the women dancing. Now, ultimately, my goal at any show that I play, doesn't matter who's there, is this. At the very least, somebody that's at least feeling what I'm doing. You know what I mean? They're in the groove. Now, I had a drum teacher tell me once, if you're playing, let's say you're playing Afro-Cuban music, let's say you're playing reggae music, let's say you're playing Caribbean music, look for somebody in the crowd that sort of fits into that genre a little bit. If they're moving to whatever you're doing it right. You're doing it right. And that's the key, because you want to be able to try and be authentic with what you're doing. I really, really strongly believe that. All right, let's get to a couple more things here. Radio Chaos. I was a band leader on cruise ships. Wow. Let me know which cruise ships. I was on Princess Caribbean, all over the Caribbean, 6-month contract years ago. I did it once, and then I did another stint on the same line, but it was it was a different boat, but same line, Caribbean Cruises, different boat, for 2 weeks, subbing in for the drummer who got injured. So I just subbed in. So I've done it twice. It's not my bag. I don't really like ships too much, cruise ships. 3 times a day, man, Radio Chaos, 3 shows a day, 6 days a week. It's a rough show. My reading chops were top notch from that, though. I will admit that was for sure. You got to have some badass reading skills, especially for the theater shows at night. Not so much for the shows in the little clubs, but definitely the shows at night when you're doing the theater. You got to have good reading skills, which is awesome. Andrew again. I would love to have an Iron Maiden tribute band at my wedding. I don't think my wife and her parents would have gone that far. Exactly. I love Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden's one of my absolute favorite bands. Love them. And I'd love to play in an Iron Maiden tribute band. The problem is that tribute bands like Iron Maiden and any kind of metal, Ozzy does well. Ozzy tribute bands do well, but they're a niche audience and a niche market, and it's hard to get shows because they're just so limiting in terms of the venues that you can play. Now, I used to play in a Beatles tribute, which did work. Well, man, we worked like crazy. And I think I did a video talking about this. I played a gig at a wedding, Beatles tribute at a wedding on New Year's Eve. Combo, New Year's Eve, wedding. Very strange. Radio again. You never see a group of men dancing to Whitesnake. Can't say I've seen it. And I played Whitesnake. I played Whitesnake at Beer Market in Toronto. For those of you that know the Toronto scene, Beer Market in Toronto, played so many gigs there. And we used to play Whitesnake. And the ladies would get up and dance. Absolutely. What I've learned over so many years of playing is you got to cater to your audience to some degree. But at the same time, if you're a dance band, a funk band like I'm doing, I'm not going to do a biker gig, because bikers aren't into that too much. Now, that being said, I played a gig in Burlington, Ontario one time. The name of the Jersey's, I remembered. Jersey's Bar and Grill, pool hall. Stage is like, stage is here. Around the corner is the pool tables. All these bikers come in when we're in our first set, middle of the first set. All these bikers come in. They come around. They're playing pool. A couple of times they came out and they checked us out and they looked at us and whatnot. We played some rock music in that band, but it was mainly top 40 pop music, some rock, but again, it's like Bryan Adams, AC/DC, Red Hot Chili Peppers, stuff like that. That was the sort of the rock stuff we were doing, but we were doing a lot more dancey, poppy stuff, right? Anyways, I thought to myself, these guys aren't really interested, but whatever, you just keep playing, you do your show. At the end of the night, a bunch of them came out and they approached me and the singer when we were tearing down, and they said, we're not really into the style of music that you guys were playing tonight, but you did a really good job and you sounded really good. And then they pointed right to Amanda and said, you sounded great. You're a great singer and we enjoyed listening to you. So even though they're not interested in hearing, Beyonce or Katy Perry or whatever the shite we were playing, the bikers weren't interested in the actual music, but they appreciated the musicianship that went into it and how we replicated the songs and all the ladies dancing out front. Because I can remember, there had to have been 50 women on the dance floor dancing to those songs. So the ultimate goal is to get people dancing and to get people moving. And like I said, if I was around, if I could see those bikers, I'm sure they were moving and a grooving, even if it wasn't their, Billie Jean or Wanna Be Starting Something or something like that from Michael Jackson. Might not be their groove, but they could at least appreciate it. So excellent. Okay, so keyboard player, that is what we are. Well, I'm interviewing people and I'm looking for people, and in the GTA area, I got some ads running, and that's my big announcement that I wanted to come on here and do live. Instead of putting a video out, I was going to do a video and announce this, but I decided I'm going to come on live and give you guys the scoop. And there's 18 people on here now. That's fantastic. I've seen it as high as 21. Woo, that's awesome. Really, really great to see you guys joining me here. And, let me know what you guys think about when you go and see a band. If you listen to a band, it's not your bag. You're a hard rock guy, you're a rock guy, or maybe you're a reggae guy, or whatever you're into, whatever your style of music is, but they're not playing your style of music. Can you still appreciate it? Can you toss your ego aside and say, you know what? Even though I'm not a huge fan of these songs, these guys are doing a good job. I have done that many times where I've gone to see various bands, or when I was doing a showcase and there was, say, 5 bands being showcased, and my band was one of them, Agent Showcase. So we're trying to get into casinos, we're trying to get into higher end clubs, whatever, and agents come out and they see you play. So I get to see the competition, I get to see the other bands, and I can appreciate, okay, yeah, maybe they're playing stuff that I'm not a huge musical fan of, but man, they're laying it down. Like the bass player that I've hired for this band, Tim, is an amazing bass player. He actually has played with Santana in the past. He's from Russia, and what happened was the Santana bass player, the regular guy, had some drug charges and could not get into Russia. They wouldn't let him in. He couldn't get a visa. It's a very strict country to get into. Tim's a Russian citizen. He's one of the top bass players in the country. He got hired to do the tour, so he ended up touring with Santana all across Russia. And he's done that many times with many, many big acts. He's the man. Now he bounces back and forth between Russia and Canada. Right now he's in Canada, and I played hundreds of gigs with the guy. And now I just messaged him a little while ago and said, hey, Tim, I want to put this funk band together. and I need a bass player that can really, really lay that bass, because some of the stuff that I'm doing is heavy bass oriented. It's all about groove. It's all about laying it in the pocket and getting those people bouncing their heads and getting the ladies on the dance floor. That's what it's all about. And you're going to make the most money playing that as well. Forget about everything else. If we're just going to talk about money here for a minute, if you're a pro and you make a living doing this like me, you want to be in a band where people are not only going to come out to see you because they like the music, but people are going to be willing to fork over a few bucks to come and see you. Because our plan is, or my plan, and the other guys are kind of agreeing with me, featuring the singer at any show we do, but then we're going to try and break the theater market by picking a couple of artists that she really is really good at, and sort of going the theater route where we do like a 70s or 80s type dance show featuring specific artists. That's another thing that I'm rolling around in my head. But I got to get this band up and running, at least to get out into the scene and playing music and having fun. That's the other thing. So I'm looking for a keyboard player that is fun, that can play, that has chops, that's on a high level of playing, and also is a decent and good person. You guys have seen all my stories. You've seen what I've been through. You've seen and heard me talking about some of the horror stories. Now, there is one thing, and this is the great thing about being live. I can sort of correct myself on some things. This is over 40 years, these stories. I don't want you guys to think that every single gig I did, it was chaos. Because a lot of the time, especially when I was in Clean Slate, I was running the show and I had Tim, Andrew, and Amanda, same lineup that I got now. And they would show up and they were pros. They just played. They did their thing. Then after the show, they packed up, they got paid, they went home. And nothing happened. There was no excitement other than, in terms of drama, there was no excitement. We did our thing. The audience loved it. We had a great time. We had fun. And the audience went home happy. We went home happy. We got paid. We did our thing musically. And it's just a normal night. So that happened way more often than the craziness of the stories that I am relaying to you. Now, that being said, tomorrow, stay tuned. I just did a sort of a downer video, the last one, where I talked about some hardship that I went through when I was much, much younger, like 30, 35 years ago, living in cars, living in abandoned houses, living in a barn. I did some crazy, crazy things years ago. I lived in a rehearsal studio. Just go and watch that video and you'll get more details about that. But the next video is a very, very, I'm not going to say it's funny. Strange. It's funny, strange. You know how you can change the word funny to mean like haha or whoa, that's weird, that kind of a thing. So this is kind of weird. Now, I am going to tell you something quickly about my video that I plan to do tomorrow. When I actually was there witnessing what was going on at the wedding, it was a wedding gig, and this is quite a long time ago, like I would say 97, 98, something like that. And I was playing in a wedding band. We got hired like crazy. We were very busy, which is good. But this particular wedding was really bizarre. And like I said, at the time, I was shaking my head like, this is crazy. This is craziness. But I was kind of laughing at the same time. Now, so many years later, when I think about that gig, and that's one of those standout gigs that's why I'm going to do a story on it, because it's a standout gig that I vividly remember. I mean, I've done gigs where I barely remember anything from the gig because we just did our normal gig and, nothing happened. But this story I'm going to shoot the video of for tomorrow. It was a very strange gig. And like I said, when I look back on it now, it's not as funny as what it was at the time. When I look back on it now, I think to myself, man, this is really quite sad. So that's all I'm going to give you. That's all. I piqued your interest. Hopefully you'll tune in tomorrow. I'm going to shoot that video and tell you guys a crazy wedding story. Now, usually weddings are pretty, pretty normal. Not this one. So anyways, I will tell you that story tomorrow. So guys, I just wanted to get on here and give you my announcement. I'm really happy that I had so many people join in with me here. If you have any more questions or you want to say anything, I always give my announcement that I'm going to be heading out. So if you guys want to ask me anything or make a comment, now is the time, because I am going to head out. I just wanted to get on here and make my announcement and say hello to you guys for a few minutes. I really appreciate all that have joined me here today. And on that note then, if I don't have any more comments here to read, I really, really want to thank you guys for joining me. And I'm going to put this to rest. I'm going to give this a night, and I'm going to go and relax. And please look for that video tomorrow. Look for that video tomorrow, because it's a crazy story. Anyways, guys, thanks so much. I always get kind of thrown off by the angle of the camera here. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you soon. As always, you guys know it. Keep drumming, or keep playing music if you're not a drummer, because I discovered that I have a lot of people watching now that aren't necessarily drummers, which is a great thing, man. It's all about music in the end. It's all about music. See you guys.